The first time I saw the film was on television in New York. It was the late 50s, 57, 1958. I was really becoming aware of filmmaking at the time, and the power of the picture and the surprise, the entertainment value, but also the striking filmmaking was something that was a revelation to me.
I think I might have been under 10 when I first saw it, and then I saw it again when I was at film school. But the first time was the most important time for me because it really was so clever.
It was a time on British television where you would turn on the TV in the afternoon and get an amazing movie like that. It's got lots of different elements. It's got a really heartfelt love story, it's got action, and it's got comedy, and it's a detective story.
Well, it's a film I've sort of watched through my film life. I mean, almost as I grow older, it says different things to me.
I think I saw it on television with commercials, which is too bad. And I didn't know at the time any of the history. I didn't know who Graham Greene was. I didn't know who Carol Reed was. I didn't know who Orson Welles was. But it was just fascinating.
One of the things about The Third Man is that the story is unique, the story is remarkable, and that it has lots of twists and turns.
On the surface of it, it's Vienna after the war, and Holly Martins is a scribbler, and he writes pulp novels. He's been invited by his friend Harry Lime.
What's the purpose of your visit here?
A friend of mine offered me a job here.
Where are you staying?
With him.
There's a guy who comes to see an old friend, and he realizes his friend is dead, and it's like there's something wrong about this.
Already gone. Who? His friends. And, Coffin. Coffin?
And what initially starts out as a mystery of him trying to find out what happened to his friend, but things become much, much more complicated, dark and dangerous as the mystery unravels.
So you watch a movie over and over again. Why, for the story? You know the story. You know where this surprise is going to happen or that's going to happen. So what is it then? What compelled you to watch this picture? And I think really it's the characters, the tragic love story, and the themes of the picture.
The theme that I remember most is that whole notion of innocence and guilt. And it all fed into this notion of paranoia and vulnerability in men. Hero figures suddenly became ambiguous and vulnerable and weak in lots of ways.
Please be careful, sir. Up we come. All right, Payne. He's only a scribbler with too much drink in him. Take Mr. Holly Martins home.
One of the main themes is that the betrayal of trust, of friendship. And, you know, what is love and how blind can it be?
Anna, you'll fall in love again.
Don't you see, I don't want to. I don't ever want to.
The script was amazing by Graham Greene, and he understands the dark side of humanity, the disillusioned side, the lost in love side, the criminal side.
He explores, I think, the depth that you recognize in human beings around you. The one moment they surprise you by being incredibly pleasant, the next moment they stab you in the back.
You must feel very proud to be a police informer. Harry, get away. The police are outside.
The thing I appreciate about Graham Greene's writing in The Third Man is the density of it. Even with the smallest of characters, he paints very, very vivid pictures.
The writing, the dialogue is remarkable. It's become, between some of my closest friends, codes. We use the lines from the picture constantly. Lines like, no ice for Mr. Martins. It's one of our favorites. Carol Reed, I became rather obsessed about. He had a way of creating sequences through camera movement, angle, and editing. I knew that it was something special. I knew this wasn't just somebody making a picture because it was under contract.
I think Carol Reed has a great sense of structure. I think he's a very elegant man, and I think his work is very elegant.
There's never an image in it that's bland. You know, there's never a moment in it that feels like it's just, you know, they're just getting through it or it's coverage. It seems like every single shot is very specific to the story.
I think as a director, he was a phenomenal storyteller, and I think a very underrated one. The way he tells very, very moving, emotional stories, but with very complex, dark characters and situations.
He was fascinated by character, and I think he did a very good job of character.
But the real fulcrum of the picture really is Joseph Cotten and his performance.
Joseph Cotten, who plays Holly Martins, comes to Vienna because he needs a handout, he needs some help from his old pal. When he arrives there, he arrives in the strange city, kind of naive.
Joseph Cotten plays the guy who's honorable and kind of the innocent American who believes in the truth.
He doesn't mind playing belligerent or cowardly or afraid. He seems to have no ego about that.
And that's a real art, because I think a lot of actors want to always look good and look smart and be the one who sort of solves the mystery. And he's brilliant at playing innocent, almost dumbly loyal. He falls in love with a woman who doesn't love him back.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just a hack writer who drinks too much and falls in love with girls.
And involved in that is Harry Lime's girlfriend, and Holly's such a romantic, he falls in love with her.
Where he finally goes to her apartment, he's a little drunk, and he knows he doesn't have a chance.
What is it? What's happened to you?
Just came to see you.
At that point, she also said the cat only liked Harry. And so that leads right into the great revelation of Harry Lime in the doorway.
When the cat goes down and plays with his shoelace, he's like, oh my God, Harry Lime is alive, before he saw the face.
The cat nestling itself on the shoes of Harry Lime, and then him being revealed in the light.
And as a car passes, it's revealed, there's Harry Lime. And he realizes his friend is not dead.
Harry!
You see him very, very little in the movie. He has very few scenes, but you hear so much about him. And what the filmmakers do is create almost a myth around this man.
The Orson Welles performance is like a fireworks display. You know, you're waiting for it, and then it happens, and it doesn't disappoint.
It's a very impactful scene. It's like, boom. Certainly that was one of the most memorable scenes in cinema, I think.
It really takes on another level and just sustains, no matter how many times you see it.
The cinematography in The Third Man is brilliant in terms of storytelling. It's almost as Joseph Cotten's character starts to unravel, the world around him as portrayed by the cinematography starts to get darker and more expressionistic, and the ruins start coming into the images.
I mean, you can't talk about The Third Man without recognizing the incredible contribution of Robert Krasker, his photography. The night scenes, the streets that wet down, the ruins of the city. There's an extraordinary sense of a world that's come apart, and particularly the off-centered camera, the tilted cameras.
The use of kind of Dutch angles and tilts and stuff really helps with that feeling of the world is not right and it's all askew.
The camera style really visualizes it for me. There's no settling of the camera, in a sense. You don't feel grounded in any way. It really reflected what was left of Vienna. People living in beautiful apartments and buildings, but at the same time, the camera would pan and it's completely destroyed.
They used the backdrop of the city almost as a character in the film. You know, the bombed houses almost become this dark, shadowy presence over this mystery and these very vulnerable characters. The depth of the shots, the amount of detail in the filming could not be achieved in any other way. You'd be hard-pressed to make that film now, you know, because of the level of detail of destruction that you can see.
The music, of course, is a major element. It's like another character in the film. This extraordinary, raw, kind of crazy, jaunty sound of the zither.
It was part of the thing that grounds it in reality, in the same way that shooting in Vienna did. This is the music you would hear on the streets. This is the sound of these people's lives.
And it sort of changes meaning, certainly for me, throughout the course of the movie, whereas first there's almost something charming and European, and gradually, I think, as you understand what's going on in these characters, it has a sort of slightly more devilish quality.
It really reflects the kind of madness and a feeling anything could happen, and yet the irony of the upbeat feel of it.
And that gives it this incredible tension the whole time, which is really important.
The famous scene on the Ferris wheel when Holly Martins and Harry Lime get together to discuss what's really going on.
when he finally does get to meet Harry, it's on the Ferris wheel, right? So suddenly you expect Harry Lime. He's a criminal. He's skulking around. Instead, he just jauntily walks up, says, "Hey, come on, let's take a ride." And he goes up in the Ferris wheel, and you have this beautiful scene between the two of them.
Good to see you, Harley. Was that your funeral? It was pretty smart, wasn't it?
I think what makes that scene very significant in the movie is not just the fact that it's a beautiful location and there are two fine actors. It's the dialogue. And not only the dialogue, but the intelligence behind the dialogue. There is a guy justifying actually being a murderer.
Look down there. Would you really feel any pity if one of those dots stopped moving forever? If I offered you 20,000 pounds for every dot that stopped, would you really, old man, tell me to keep my money? Or would you calculate how many dots you could afford to spend, free of income tax?
The chilling dialogue about people being ants, Harry Lime saying it in such a reasonable way, but it's a conversation of a psychopath.
It's not the diabolical speech that the baddie gives where it's sort of, haha, this is why I killed, this is why I did this. It's actually a very well-reasoned, persuasive, charismatic speech.
Certainly one of the most surprising things and one of the most enjoyable things was the Wells monologue that he did, where Wells finally says, talks about the Renaissance and all the bloodshed of the Renaissance.
Don't be so gloomy. After all, it's not that awful. Well, what the fella said. In Italy, for 30 years under the Borgias, they had warfare, terror, murder, and bloodshed, but they produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and the Renaissance. In Switzerland, they had brotherly love. They had 500 years of democracy and peace. And what did that produce? The cuckoo clock.
It had such brightness, such charm, and it was an evil character.
And Holly Martin's just looking at him going, oh, right, okay, well, this is where we are now, and the man I knew before is gone, he's been destroyed.
The sewer sequence at the end, this is kind of interesting. The sound editing alone of that is remarkable. I keep using it as an example, try to get the same kind of sound. I would get my sound people and I'd say, listen, watch this sequence. I want that feeling of the sound being cut off here and the echo here.
With these footsteps in the sewers, and you don't know where sounds are coming from. And the Orson Welles character is being chased by his own demons as much as he is by the police and by his own crimes.
You're not the police, you're not even Holly, you become Harry being chased.
Carol Reed's almost put you in Orson Welles' shoes. All the emotion is really on the close-ups of Orson Welles.
You basically end up being Harry Lime, right up until Holly Martin shoots him.
And the final moment of his fingers through the grating is quite beautiful.
And the extraordinary thing is you still feel so much sympathy for the Orson Welles character in spite of everything he's done, and it's a pretty great filmmaker that can make you feel like that.
Wait a minute, let me out. Well, there's not much time. One can't just leave.
The last shot is structured in this incredibly clever way where the Ida Valley character is walking away and Joseph Cotton is there waiting for her, and you think, because of the way the story is being built up the whole way through, that she's going to stop at him and there's going to be some love scene between them, and she very coolly, calmly, coldly just walks past and leaves him alone like he started at the beginning of the film.
It's incredible, you're watching and go, wow, this is really ballsy. This is an unhappy ending, full-on unhappy ending.
And it just holds on the shot, and there's nothing overemphasized about it, and that's, for me, what makes it such an extraordinary ending, is it's low-key, it's quiet, it's understated, but the impact is immense.
So that became a moment that internationally of something that, an experience that a whole audience shared, seeing that. Third Man made me see what one can do with visual storytelling.
The thing that influenced me the most from The Third Man is that you can have something that's essentially a genre film, but the other side of it being incredibly smart and sharp and have a really strong sense of humour. If I got anywhere near making something that was half as good, I would smugly stop and not do any more films.
I think when you're a young director, you aspire to be a great director, and you get that from watching the greats. When we watched Third Man, we all realized that this was a film that was going to be very hard to beat. Even today, I can't think of many films that have eclipsed The Third Man as a piece of filmmaking.
It's just really good storytelling. It really was a nice incident of a movie that makes you wonder what's going to happen next and how is this going to work out, and then pays off.
I just feel that people need reminding of it. And Carol Reed, his work should be seriously discussed again. And for me, it was an extraordinary cinematic experience.